What is up, gamers? The Red Dragon here, and we are covering the top stories on VGN. So I wanted to tackle this story that has been floating around where everybody's going around saying that the PlayStation 4 is 50% more powerful or faster than the Xbox One. So I'm going to go through here. A lot of people have been asking me, why haven't I been covering the story? I'm going to tell you exactly why I haven't touched it. I'll also tell you where the stories originated from, and also walk you through the thought process of where I'm at as far as this story is concerned. So let's go back to this first picking up a lot of steam. It was a little bit earlier this month. There was a former People Can Fly dev. He got on Twitter and he said, "I know that pure hardware specs are not the whole story, but man, all next-gen AAA devs I talk to say it's a 50% speed difference." He goes on to say that he's talking about the PS4. So right there in 140 characters, he launched a whole campaign with everybody going around claiming that the PS4 is 50% faster than the Xbox One. Now, he went on to go make a forum post that he explained what he was talking about. And of course, this part of the story wasn't picked up by the media as much as the narrative of just PS4 is 50% faster than the Xbox One. So he says that he wants to clarify. He said that the claim that there's 50% speed difference when developing in cross-gen games. He said, so there we have it. I said it and I stand by it. Notice when developing. And he puts when developing in big capital letters. He goes on to say, you're going to see a lot of multi-platform games this next gen, just as you've seen them in this gen. So it's the studio's best interest that there's no clear advantage in one version over the other. He says, does this mean that studios will cripple PS4 versions to match the Xbox Ones? He says, no, but he mentions that you never see games at their most powerful form anyway. He says most of the time devs have a target that they need to meet. If it's a multi-platform game, it's designed with this in mind from the start. So maybe it's not maxing out one console while going 100% on the other. Maybe it's 100% on both. But they take extra time for super extra optimizations on the weaker hardware to make sure things look the same as on the most powerful platforms. So if you think that the war is over because PS4 is 50% faster today, then you're delusional. It's far from over and probably never will be, at least not this upcoming gen. Okay, so that was the first start. This was the People Can Fly dev. He came out, he made these statements. Now, this story got picked up again just a few days ago because of Edge magazine. Edge had an article where they claimed that they talked to multiple anonymous devs who were saying that developing for the PlayStation 4 was 50% faster than the Xbox One. Again, there were some parts of this article that weren't picked up as much as the other parts of it, so I want to address those first, and then I'll come back and address the overall Edge magazine article. So the first thing is these developers, these anonymous developers, also mentioned that hardware is not locked yet. They say that both Sony and Microsoft are working on graphics drivers, and that both systems, their graphic drivers, have kept them from optimizing their games to their full potential. So they're both running behind. They say that Xbox One is lagging further behind in this regard. And if any of you play on the PC, then you know how important graphic drivers can actually be. You can have an awesome card. I have a GTX 680, but they'll put out updates where it'll dramatically increase the frame rates for certain games. And I know whenever it first released, I had problems with it, like it wasn't up to speed. Even though it had all this power, I mean, you have a powerful card, it doesn't necessarily mean that much if it's not optimized correctly or if it's not set up properly. So these things are still being worked on. These people again mentioned kind of the same thing though that the People Can Fly dev said. They said despite the gulf in speed, the differences between cross-platform launch games will be negligible. And with tight deadlines to meet, it's more expedient for developers to deliberately create near identical versions. And a couple of more went on to say, one of them mentioned that it would probably be a political issue if they shipped one version of a game looking a lot better so that to keep from ruffling any feathers that they would make near identical games. And another dev said that they disagreed with that. They wouldn't worry necessarily about the political backlash, but they said a lot of times it doesn't make financial sense to invest in one console making it look prettier or better than the other. So now that we've gotten the contents of the article out of the way, let me kind of walk you through my thought process with this. And so the first thing is that I noticed is that it's anonymous sources. You don't know who these people are. You don't know what games they've worked on. They could be people that you have no idea who they are and they make crappy games. They may not know how to use the tools that they have. So until we get names, until we know more about these people, then I'm simply, I'll take it as a grain of salt. Like I've mentioned with all anonymous sources. You don't know with anonymous sources. The other thing is that these devs are working with dev kits, so I don't know the difference between the internal workings of the dev kit and the actual system that rolls off the assembly line, but one thing that I can tell you is that nobody has an Xbox One and a PlayStation 4 that has come off the assembly line, that they have hooked up, that they have done benchmark testings on, and until they do that, there is no way somebody can say and tell you for sure that this system is 50% more powerful or faster than the other. And if somebody says that to you, ask them what that means. Does that mean that games on the PlayStation 4 are going to be 50% better? Are there going to be 50% more particles flying around or 50% better graphics? It's not going to really make a whole lot of difference until you can actually show us what that is capable of and what's the point in that. Because I can tell you right now that I can look at games on both the Xbox and the PlayStation and they both look phenomenal. I don't see a 50% difference by any means. So I don't think there's a whole lot of people arguing that the PlayStation 4 isn't more powerful than the Xbox One, but to sit there and just flat out say that it's 50% more powerful just doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you can back it up. And at this point, they're not backing it up. So I'll believe it whenever I see it. I think there's a lot of things to consider when you're looking at next gen. You want to look at the games, the titles, the exclusive ones that are coming to the consoles. You want to look at the features, the accessories that are built in. But as far as hardware goes, look, both of them are going to play your games completely fine. They're going to build your worlds. They're going to have awesome graphics. They're going to have good frame rate. And if you're really concerned about graphics, you really want to make sure that you have the best graphics, you want to make sure that you have the best hardware, then it's time to invest in a PC, because that's where your best graphics and best hardware is going to be. As far as the consoles go, they've got their own optimizations. They've got their own perks and positive marks, but at this point they're not out yet, they're not optimized, and we don't have the tests to confirm anything at this point. So as soon as we do, then I'll definitely be reporting on that. And you can bet you if it turns out that the PlayStation 4 is 50% faster than the Xbox, you're going to hear it on this channel and I'm going to talk about that. But until that point, it's just rumors coming from anonymous sources. If you want to read these stories, I'll leave links in the description box. Also, check me out on Twitter, Facebook, Google+. Those links are in the description box, and I'll share all the details as they happen on those social media sites. Also, be sure you check out VGN, videogamesandnews.com, for the latest information as it happens. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.